Hi guys. I think most of us have this in common. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be shamed. Or the other thing is we feel guilty and we want to hide because of something we've done, or we would never want anyone to know what we've done. And the amazing thing about coming to Jesus is he takes away our shame and guilt. Because when we believe in him, he removes that. How does that happen? He died on the cross to take our punishment for our sin and the guilt and the shame of it too. So it's not like, I forgive you, but you're still really bad. No, his power, his love, his blood forgives us and then gives us the power to stop doing that. Listen to these next verses. In John 3, Jesus himself says this in verse 18, he who believes in him, as in himself, is not condemned. He who believes in Jesus is not judged, is not condemned. In John chapter 8, there's an incredible story. It's like really crazy. Here's what it says in verse 3. Then the scribes and Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, to Jesus, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded that as such be stoned, but what do you say? First of all, do we ever really think about that? A woman is committing adultery, and these religious leaders who don't have the heart of God, who want to expose her and judge her and see what Jesus will do, will go into the bedroom or wherever she was doing that and catch her committing adultery and take her in that moment to Jesus, because they want Jesus to stone the woman who's doing this. Wow. Jesus says this incredible thing in verse 7. He says, he who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. Then he stoops on the ground and he starts writing. And the Bible tells us that one by one, those people who wanted to condemn that woman to death started to leave. And then Jesus says to the woman, Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you? Then she says, No one, Lord. And Jesus said to her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. See, that's the heart of God. It's not that sin isn't sin. It's the fact that he wants to take it away. But not just the sin, that feeling that you feel like you've wrecked your life and you're disqualified. Jesus is saying to you, come to me. I'll give you this gift. I won't condemn you. And in that word of his mercy and forgiveness, he also gives the power to a sinful woman in that phrase, go and sin no more. I just feel like everybody's judging everybody. If you go on social media, it's like a war zone, or even the news of exposing and shaming and people trying to catch the next person out to show how bad they are. It's everywhere. It's epidemic. The heart, for whatever reason, wants to expose and make people look bad. It's part of the sinful nature. So I want to ask you this question. Who are you in this story? Who are you? Are you one throwing stones at somebody else's failure and you love talking about it? Or are you the person who's completely wrecked their lives and you feel so bad and you feel like there's no hope? Well, I want to tell you that the person that stayed with Jesus was the woman who felt that way, the woman who was exposed, and he gave her the words of life. So come to him. Don't hide from Jesus. If you've done something bad, run to him. Run into his arms of love and say, please forgive me. Give me a new start in my life. And hear his words. I don't condemn you. Go and leave your life of sin. There's power in that kind of love. There's power because he died for you and he died for me. Get out of the camp of judging and in humility, open your own heart to Jesus and say, clean me, God. Wash all that junk off, and He will do what He did for this woman for you. Bless you. Bye. And it says in verse, sorry.